When you're selecting images for your website or for other presentation, you will probably be thinking about how good the portrait is, how well painted, how well drawn, how the minimal marks and things like this. Your client will be looking for one of these. So if they see a drawing, they won't know that you paint. If they see somebody in uniform, they will think you don't do casual around the kitchen. If you do male, they think you don't do female. And if you do old, they think you don't do young. So they will be thinking, I want one of those. They look at it very differently. And for an artist, that can be, you go to this effort to create this wonderful work of art with tremendous integrity, and they'll be picking it up subliminally. But their main question is it what I want? Is it one of those that I'm going to get? Images. I deal with a lot of images, so I have quite a lot to say about images. First of all, quality matters. It's not just the resolution, which has to be right. It doesn't mean big. So on a website, you don't really want more than 72 by 600 pixels or thereabouts. But for print, you need something much higher. It's also about the image itself. If the colour balance is out, then it's out and it's not going to look right. If it's slightly out of focus, it's not going to represent you well. So it is worth putting a lot of effort into getting good images by whatever means you can. If you've got good images, make sure that anybody representing you gets to see them. Because when I'm showing people your work, I will show them what I've got. I can't show them what I haven't got. So keep people up to date with what's there. Keep your website up to date. My sister, hope she won't mind this, missed an opportunity because Mal Galleries had a space at the last minute. She had work that was exhibition ready, that would have been perfect. But when I took my colleagues to her website, it was so out of date. The work that they saw was irrelevant. And so you don't know, she didn't know about this till I told her. You don't know what opportunities you're missing by not keeping your website up to date. And how you treat your images. If your images are not titled properly, they're very easy to lose. They're easy to lose on the internet, because if people are searching by title, they're not going to show. They're easy to lose in your own finding system, and they're easy to lose when you send them out to people like me. So once you get an image you're happy with, please, name and title. Medium and size are a good addition too, but name and title are an absolute must. I get a lot of very badly titled images. Something you may or may not be aware of is copyright. A commissioned work of art is your copyright. So your client might have paid for it, your client might have sat for it, but the copyright belongs to you. It doesn't mean that it's sensible always to keep all of it, because sitters can be very private, very sensitive about it. And so it's a conversation to be had as to what rights everybody's going to use. Are they happy for you to put that image out and about? And do they want to use it for, say, Christmas cards? Because that's your right, and you can grant a license for them to do that, or anything else they want to do, and you have the right to charge a fee for that. You also have the right to have your name and title properly on the image wherever it appears. So just be aware that copyright is yours, and you need to look after it. Oh, and I should say, you're not the only person involved. If you've got a professional photographer to take the image, the natural way, the default position is that the copyright belongs to the photographer. So you need to negotiate that up front. You also need to acknowledge the photographer when you're reproducing as appropriate. So we go to, you've got the work out there. How does the client think about it when they're choosing you? We've covered how they look at your image rather differently in a I want one of those way. Oh, I've missed a slide. Now we're looking at how do they compare artists? How do they think about the different artists? With the Royal Society of Portrait Painters, we have artist boards, and we do that deliberately because clients find it very hard to distinguish between the sitter and the commission, the nature of the commission, and the element of a portrait that actually belongs to the artist. When you present lots of works at once, you start to get a sense of what belongs to the artist. It stops matching quite so much about the pose, the age, the background, the content, and all the peripheral things in a portrait, and they start to get a sense of the you-ness of you. And they will do this quite quickly. Looking at, we know John Walton's work. I think everyone knows each one of those would have taken many painstaking hours to produce. But somebody looking at it will know whether it speaks to them or not in a matter of seconds, minutes, no time at all. So that's the rate at which you're reaching people. And when I'm working with people, I get them to look through all the boards and instinctively, quickly and heart-led, not intellectually head-led and slowly, to pull aside anything they're attracted to make a shortlist. And that shortlist is then whittled down on a thought-through head basis. So it's a very instinctive partnership. Commissions are very personal. It's me to you. And I think that's how so many amazing relationships seem to be formed through the commissioned portrait. Yeah, I want one of those. So mistakes you can make when presenting your work is produce one of those that you don't want to do anymore. So I thought I'd tell the story of lovely Harry here. Jeff Hazer produced a chanting portrait of a young boy, which we actually use quite a lot for publicity. But it started to work against him because he got really fed up with getting portrait commissions of children. So we had to slightly hide Harry and put adults forward to try and draw a different audience. The other way it can go wrong is if your style is fluid and changing over time, and people look at your website or look at your body of work and say, I want one of those, and actually you're not doing one of those anymore, that can lead to confusion. So just be careful to manage expectations as to what you're doing now.